Thank you for joining us today for the virtual Sunday service with the Center for Creative Living. CCL, a charter of the Universal Church of the Master, has served and supported the spiritual needs of its community here in the Bay Area for over 20 years.
Good morning, good morning. Thank you all so very much for being here. This is an incredible day. We have a big event going on later at the bowling alley. We're going to have a party, and for those of you who signed up, fantastic. We've already got you taken care of over there. If you didn't sign up, we had 2 people not being able to, so let us know if you wanted to go and you hadn't signed up. The only requirement is you're vaccinated. That's what the restaurant had said. And since it's their establishment, I kind of have to go along with it. So, good morning, me. There are so many wonderful things happening in the world, and so many horrible things happening in the world. And what I'd like for you all to do is think about the positive. I mean, it's real easy to get caught up in the negative. And every time you get caught up in the negative, your blood pressure goes up, your energy goes up, and if you don't stop talking in the back, your energy's going to go up. What happens, folks, when I say that is because if you talk in the back, it gets picked up on the mic and it goes out on Zoom and video. And so then everybody at home says, oh, look at who's talking. Okay, so if Donnie comes across cross today, it's like, shh. I watched one of the videos and went, what was that? Who was that? How come that was happening? Because as I was talking about, there are so many things that are going on that people focus on, and they don't focus on the positive. So today is a positive day. Today is a day where you woke up and said, I'm going to feel good today. Okay. And a lot of you have been having various problems. I know I've had problems walking. Mary's having problems breathing. People here have had different problems. But if you say to you, yeah, but I'm alive, that's the great thing about it. It's not what's wrong, it's what's right. And that being alive is what's right. So you start looking at, yay, I'm alive. So how many of you are alive this morning? Doesn't that feel good? Yeah. And how many decide to die today? Yay! We're absolutely delighted with that because it's your decision. And I know so many people say, oh, would you decide to die? Yeah, no. Well, my wonderful Zeke and I were talking this morning about being around people when, as our wonderful Janet knows, there's times people just say, I'm out of here. And it makes you believe that we have choice. And that's what I'm going to be talking about today, is the choice you have of living a peaceful life or living one with anger and frustration and disappointment and disagreement. It's like I've been on a rant this whole month because it's every time I talk to somebody who says, Dottie, you should. I'm now saying don't should on me. Because I'm living my life and I'm older than anybody else in this room. Something I'm doing is right. You know? Yeah. And so when I say that, it's with all of this joy of, yay, I woke up this morning, I'm looking at what I'm going to do. I woke up and Donna and Zeke were here from Nevada, and they have this wonderful dog, and he walked in and looked at me like, I've seen you before. Yeah, you have, Kimo, I'm glad to have you here. And that energy of people who are exciting and fantastic. And I'm gonna put somebody on the spot. Mel, could you stand up and let us see your beard mask? That is incredible. Yeah, isn't that wonderful? It gives a whole nother look to you, though, you know. Yes, like you dyed your beard. But it's fantastic. today, as you go through the day, I want you to think of that. If somebody says something negative to you, you say good things. Don't shit on me. Okay, I am living my life to my best capacity. And they might be totally disagreeing with you about anything. Doesn't make any difference. That is not your business. I don't know if any of you've done that, where somebody says something and they say, well, you should, and no, I don't have to. And so when we're going to be talking about bringing about peace today, think about that as I'm talking, think about that as Annie's giving a prayer, think about that as Jan is doing a meditation. Is what's it feel like to be peaceful, meditative, and calm? Because it starts with you. Peace starts right now in this room with you. And it is infectious. So you ready to get infected? Okay. And we're going to start out with, are you going to be doing the meditation first? Yes. And is Sean going to help you?
How's that?
Okay.
Sean is going to be with me.
Then I'll do a closing prayer.
And Annie's going to do a closing prayer.
Okay.
I like the fact that this works in so many different ways.
And just allow yourself, my friends, to just take a nice deep breath. Just know that we are here in this powerful circle of peace and love. And for this moment in time, as you breathe, just allow yourself to unburden yourself. Lay your burdens down. So there is an imaginary backpack where all of your cares and worries are housed, maybe in your mind, maybe in your heart, maybe in your body. We're going to invite you to just take off that backpack now. All that has happened to you in the past, all that has happened to you and is challenging you right here and now. Just reach up and grab the straps of your backpack and just gently move it up over your shoulders and just put it to the side. And know that you do not have to carry that backpack right now. You can pick it up after service if you want, but this is our sacred ground, our sacred space, where we build peace, where we build peace and healing. And that starts with being gentle with ourselves. And it's the most difficult task I'm going to give you today. I want you to look upon yourself right now as you would look upon another person. Another person who is loving, who also might be struggling, might be hurting, might be angry, might feel guilty, sad. And how would you behold that other person? I'm guessing that you would be very gentle. You would be very kind to this person in front of you. And so I want you to look into into your own eyes as the person standing across from you. Reach out your hand to that person. That person who is you. Share that love and that healing and that comfort that you would give to anybody else. So I want you to put your right hand into your left hand. And let your left hand hold your right hand. And as you are holding the hand of you, just send energy from that left hand to the right hand, and from the right hand to the left hand, creating an infinity of healing, strength, encouragement, love, and peace. Oh, I hold your hand, and I give you all my love. I hold your hand, and I give you all my strength, and I hold your hand, and I give you all my hope. I hold your hand, and I give you all my peace. Peace flowing, peace growing, it's peace. Peace starting, peace growing, peace. Peace is where we are right now, holding each other in the arms of love and peace. Flowing like a river, peace. Flowing like a flower, peace. Starting from the heart of us, peace.
it, bring it home. Know that you are radiant, healing peace. Know you are enough. Know you are full of love, love and peace. Float like a river of peace. And just stay there for a moment. Just stay in that place of peace. And just know that right now, there is nothing but peace in this room, and nothing but peace in your heart. And when you're ready, open your eyes and come back. I want to thank James for being here from Las Vegas. Thank you so very much, James. Thank you for the wonderful finish. Thank you for the energy. Thank you for people who brought cards. I really do appreciate that. And thank you for all the gifts that I've been receiving from other people as money and good luck and not as many hugs this year. That's okay. Now, the birthday that we want to celebrate is Maria's. It's absolutely her birthday today. Yay! And we have a card back there for you to sign for Maria. And she is just this wonderful, now talk about peace. This woman has been through a lot in her life, and she really appreciates peace. Now, those of you who are sitting looking this way didn't get to see Rosalie back there. But she was smiling and she was clapping, and I mean, it was like, yeah, I'm peaceful. Well, that's with you folks. If you haven't met Rosalie, she's one of the nearest members of CCM. We're always so glad to have her here. It's really nice to enjoy her energy. The reason I keep talking about peace, you probably think, Dottie's a broken record. Yeah, I hope you realize that even if I am a broken record, it can be fixed. And the fixing of something is figuring out what went wrong. And what goes wrong is when I hear people saying they should, or I hear people say, I don't know why they don't think the way I do. Folks, they don't have to. Okay. I got a message from my wonderful spirit guide, Mom. And I was saying, how come mothers are so close to their kids and sometimes dads aren't? And he said, they've known them 8 months longer. And I said, what about 9 months longer? And he said, no, the first month you're just barely developing, but from then on that spirit gets strong. And so when you think about that, when you hear somebody say, well, I'm never that close to my dad, you say, yeah, because you never got to know him as intimately as you did your mom. And so they're, instead of saying, oh yeah, dads are no good, give them more credit. It took them a long time to make up that time that was lost, and knowing that your spirit, and it's your spirit that we know. I don't know if you've thought about the fact that, and when you meet somebody, you might notice the color of their hair, the color of their skin, the color of their eyes. But what you really are meeting is their spiritual energy. And I don't think you've ever heard somebody say, oh, that spirit is nasty, unless they're talking about something that's maybe called a disincarnate. But basically, all spirits are beautiful. And so when you meet somebody, instead of judging them by what they're wearing or how they're sounding, look at their spirit. And you'll find the more you do that, the more capable and able you are. And you might not be seeing their spirit, but you're feeling it. Have you ever met someone and think, I've known them before? Well, you haven't known this incarnation, but you've known that spiritual self. And every time you talk about spirit, start saying, spirit is one of those peaceful things that I want to look into, that I want to become more like, that I want to value. And I have a quote here. It says, peace. It does not mean to be in a place where there is no noise, trouble, or hard work. It means to be in the midst of those things and still be calm in your heart. Okay? But right now I want to take and calm your heart, because I want to put out a blessing to Clyde, who got sunstroke yesterday, heat stroke. A blessing to Scout Bartlett, who said, I'm not coming. I woke up with a sore throat and I was out of the area last week. I don't want to bring anything here. I want to put a prayer out to Cheryl Lewis, whose house has been surrounded by fire, and know that that fire is going to move on and not bother her. We just visualize it and see it going. Sean's been doing a lot of work on this to keep Cheryl safe. Have you heard anything today, Sean?
No, I mean, we've been watching the fire map, though, a heat map, and the heat is actually going south of her. So I hate putting words out into the universe before they're happening, but it looks like it's all going to be contained perfectly, and we don't have to worry about it.
Oh, good.
So I'm just saying that.
Okay, sounds wonderful. Thank you. And anybody else you'd like to put in this bowl of peace that we can send prayers to? Yes, Donna.
How about Deborah Winnett? The hurricane is making landfall
Right.
in Louisiana, and I fear she may be in some danger.
Yeah, and my friend Arlene Dean, she went back to New Orleans to see her family, and now they all got into a car and went to Houston to get out of the path of the hurricane. Anybody else that you can think of that needs our prayer and our love? Yes, Judge.
I would like to send special energy to Ronnie Grigsby, and Corey,
Okay.
and safety for them as they work the game, but they've also been dealing with some health.
Right, they both have been dealing with health problems, and now they're at the 49er Stadium today working the game. Yes, Christine.
Lana Lyon and Mary we met, they were expecting the hurricane to pass.
Lana and, okay. And so we put them
They
in.
were over, past New Orleans, but right there on the panhandle.
Are they in Louisiana? I thought they were in Florida.
They're in Florida.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
Yeah, Anna Tran, she is got cancer, and they've only given her 2 more weeks.
Now, who's Anna Tran?
Well, she's just somebody that a friend of mine knows, and I just want a special prayer out.
Certainly.
She has
Certainly.
2 boys, and she's only 33.
Oh, my goodness.
And so I just pray for a miracle for her.
Oh, a miracle for Anna. Yes. That's so important that you put out for miracles, because we know that people praying bring about miracles. I want to mention that. Olga Worrell, if you haven't heard of Olga Worrell, look it up. And she's the person that would go into hospitals, and she'd find the room where somebody was passing, and she would send energy. And they have recordings of balls of energy leaving Olga and going down to that room, and either helping the person release or bringing about miracle. One of those old-time mystics that happened to be around a long time ago. And it's exciting when you know there are people that have those kind of abilities. And each one of you does. Just sitting down and figuring how to bring about that ability. Yes, Annie?
So this is a little bit different, but my sister's in-laws, their niece stole family heirlooms and took a lot of money, unfortunately, for purposes that were not. And they are very ill.
Yeah, okay.
They're very ill.
And they're very ill, and somebody stole some precious things in heirlooms.
Right.
And any names that we can put out there?
Just Jackie and David?
Jackie and David, okay. Sounds like they need help, yeah. And that's important.
Dottie,
Yes.
I have a request through the chat from Brenda for
support and prayers for a battle with depression, and she's asking for prayers to move through it.
Okay, put that out for Brenda. Yeah, and somebody else had a hand up. Yes, Sean.
There's a fire happening in Siberia right now
Oh, no, I had
that is
that.
larger than all of the other world's fires put together.
Wow.
And it's a really big deal because it's one of the huge forests that we have, and as we lose our forests, we also change our atmosphere.
Right.
So just be cognizant that what's happening in the U.S. is not the entire world, and make sure to send your prayers out to all of the nature spirits to help contain these types of devastating things happening to a global population that's actually getting exceedingly huge, and then all the animals that get impacted by that. So, I don't know, just opening that up to awareness.
Of course. And Siberia is one of those places we have often joked about, you know, because it's so huge and it's so out of the general realm of where people go to visit. And yet there's some amazing people there and energies. Thank you so much for bringing that to our attention. Yes, Patty?
I'd like to have a special request also for those in Afghanistan.
In Afghanistan.
Who want to get out and are trying to get out, and that everyone is safe.
And when we think about Afghanistan, it's so hard for us to imagine what's going on there. And instead of making everybody wrong, let's pray for peace. However that looks for you, I can't tell you how to look at peace, but that's a country that really, really needs it. So let's just put that energy out. So as you just take a moment and close your eyes and send this energy that we named. Jan did such a wonderful job of bringing in so many things that we can send peace to. But now that we've named people, places, and even things that need our energy, just take a nice deep breath. And as you exhale love to all that are going through difficulty and all that need prayer and all that need peace. So, as you do that, just feel the energy that you are able to send out. And now breathe in peace and exhale it. One more time. Breathe in peace and exhale it. And so it is. How many of you?
I just have from Chen Li, for all, love, safety, and peace.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. How many of you are feeling anxious about what's to come? Anybody feeling anxious about what's happening, what's to come? What does that get you?
Nothing.
Oh, does it get you ulcers, headaches, migraines, frustration, upset stomach? Every time you worry about what's coming that you have no control over. So when you think about that, and you think about all these wonderful defense mechanisms, worrying about things, it goes into high gear. And somebody said, well, so-and-so, and I love, oh no, it's so-and-so that I'm talking about today, did such and such. And then stop and say, is that person worth dying for? Have you ever thought of that? That your anger, your frustration is shutting down the mechanisms that keeps you alive. And quite often we see that in people who've been very angry. And then you wonder, why did that person die at 65? They were just so angry that their body couldn't continue moving. And even though the body's natural inclination towards peace is so great, it's just that we see it in our bodies sometimes. Peace in our heart, in our gut, in our eyes, and in our mind. But we don't see peace between nations. It's like it's okay to look here, look in the mirror and see us, and we can be peaceful here. But what about those nations over there that are killing each other? Well, you've got to say, wait a minute. If I've got peace here, How can I spread it there? How can I spread peace there? Somebody was at the door. There we go. Okay. So think about that. So when you're worried about your finances, when you're worried about your love life, when you're worried about your sex drive, I don't care what it is you're worried about, stop and say, am I going to die over this? Is it worth dying for? And it stops you. And it makes you realize that you've got to think about something else. And it's peace. And how do you find peace? It's just a matter of calming down. The meditation this morning brought about peace. The talking about what you can do brings about peace. Remember when we used to sing This Little Light of Mine, I'm going to let it shine, when we're still singing in church? Every time you think of something that's causing you distrust, that's causing you anger or frustration, say, wait a minute, I've got this little light of mine. And I'm going to let it shine, and I'm going to let it shine peace. And as I let it shine peace, what happens? Peace. Makes you feel more peaceful. Yeah. So start thinking about that, because there's so many songs that we know that talk about peace. Imagine by John Lennon. There are so many other songs that talk about let there be peace. I was very active in the 60s. I picketed. I marched for peace. I ended the Vietnam War.
Yes.
Yeah. I was out there. I was out there doing everything you could. I was singing songs and I was chanting, and I was carrying 2 little kids with me. And when somebody said to my son, what nursery rhymes did your mom teach you? And he said, we shall overcome. But that let there be peace on earth and let us begin with us is not just something you happen to say, it's something you have to live. And, spirit is peaceful. How many of you have gotten in touch with spirit, or gotten in touch with God, or gotten in touch with the I am? So that you know that it's there every time you want to reach out and grab it. You're not just bereft and missing something. It's around you. And some people, you look at it, you can even see it. It's like a golden bubble they're walking around in. And that's their peaceful coexistence with everybody else. But you have to know that you can reach out and grab it. Not that you're just separate from it. And lots of times people think being at peace means I'm not stressed. Oh, you're going to get stressed. We're human. You're going to worry about something. It's just what happens. But you don't have to stay there. That's what I'm talking about. You don't have to stay stressed or anxious. Because when you do, your mind gets so ramped up. It's go, 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 go. And pretty soon, as I said, your stomach starts having problems, your back aches. How many of you have ever had a backache just because you're sick and tired of being sick and tired? Yeah, it's amazing how fast that happens. So think about that. How can I get around this, okay? But people have trouble finding their inner spirituality. They talk about peace out there. I agree, Rosalie. They talk about peace out there, but they don't talk about the spiritual peace that everybody has. Almost everyone you know is raised in some religion. And yet, I hear people all the time saying, well, we don't like them because they're fill in the blank. I had a gentleman call me for a reading, and he said, well, you probably don't want to talk to me because I'm a Jehovah's Witness. And I said, I love talking to you, but I'm surprised you called. And he said, yeah, my mother would be very upset if she knew I was calling a psychic because we're Jehovah's Witnesses. And I said, don't badmouth the religion that you say you are. Think about that. How many times do you hear somebody say, well, I was a Catholic. And then they start quoting Catholicism. They still are. Don't apologize if you don't believe in it. Don't say that's who you are. Okay? Do you understand that? Don't say, You know, I'm really liberal, but I just don't happen to like Jews. Have you ever met someone like that? I am really great and I love everybody, but I just don't like, oh, that's not saying you're something and then not being it. That's like saying you're a peaceful person and then start bad-mouthing other people. Because that inner spirituality loves everybody. And you know, we were driving in this morning, and there's all this trash on whatever they're calling that. It used to be Matrix. I don't know what that street's called now. Technology Way, something. And there's all this trash. And my first reaction was, oh, that's awful. I thought, wait a minute. The people who were living there in that, what I consider trash, had made their home there. Why am I judging where somebody has to live or wants to live or chooses to live? Why can't I just accept them for who they are? Because the minute I don't accept somebody for who they are, I stop being spiritual because I lose sight of that spirituality, that light that's inside me. So every time you get in judgment, stop and say, what happened to that light? It's kind of like the pilot light. You ever thought of that? Your spirituality is like the pilot light on your stove. It's what keeps the light, the stove coming alive when you turn the handle. And if you don't have that pilot light, that spiritual light inside you, you don't start up in the morning. You don't put out energy because you've lost the ability to. So every time you think of your spirituality, say, you know, it's there. And sometimes I lose it, but I can always gain it back step by step. It's that process, and it's so important. The Dalai Lama, how many of you were able to see the Dalai Lama when he was here in San Jose? Just his essence is spiritual. When we saw him at the convention center, here was the Dalai Lama, and he came in, and he's sitting there, and you can feel the radiance, and you looked up, and there were men all around with rifles protecting him. And you kind of get that shake of your soul of why is one of the most spiritual people on the planet having to be protected by men carrying rifles. And then I thought, wait a minute, why do I think I know what's going on? He might have asked for protection, and I'm making him wrong. And what right do I have to make the Dalai Lama wrong? So I had to stop and rethink what I was going in and where I was going with my thoughts. Because that whole idea of inner peace is amazing. Did you all get the program when you came in? The thing on the front is symptoms of inner peace. And there's so many things there. So many things that we all should look at of defining inner peace. And if you didn't get one, would you go grab one and give it to somebody that doesn't have one? And it starts out with a tendency to think and act spontaneously rather than from fear based on past experiences. Have you ever done that? Have somebody ever offered you something to eat and you said, no, I don't like that? I've had it once when I was 4 years old and I never liked it since. Try it, you know. Your taste buds have dimmed a bit, you might like it now. How about an unmistakable ability to enjoy each moment? How many of you have that? Every moment, yay, yay. Thank you, Sherry. So wonderful. If you haven't noticed, Sherry walked in today. Fantastic. How many of you have lost interest in judging people? Yeah. How many of you have lost interest in judging yourself? Inner peace. Loss of interest in conflict. Yeah. Loss of interest in interpreting the actions of others. Yeah. Loss of interest in interpreting the actions of others. Loss of ability to worry. That's what I started out this whole talk with. When can you lose that ability to worry? You're missing the best part of this whole talk. Paul is patting Corky on the back and she's wiggling her bottom. It's kind of interesting. I'm not quite sure what that is, but you two got something going on. Looks good. A frequent, overwhelming episodes of appreciation. Yeah. How many of you have that? You just appreciate the day. You just appreciate people.
Yes.
Contented feelings of connectedness with others and with nature. Waking up and loving looking at the sun, at the flowers, at the trees. Increasing tendency to let things happen rather than making them happen. Yeah. Increased sensibility to love extended by others, as well as the uncontrollable urge to extend it. And it says, if you have all or even most of the above symptoms, please be advised that your condition may be too far advanced to turn back. If you are exposed to anyone exhibiting several of these symptoms, remain exposed at your own risk. This condition of inner peace is likely well into its infectious stage. Be forewarned. Doesn't it sound better to be infected by peace than anything else? Yeah, so think about that. I looked in to see what do different religions talk about peace. And some of these, maybe some you've heard before. Dear Creator, may there be peace on earth. May the waters be plentiful and pure. May the people be happy, animals content, herbs be wholesome, and may trees and plants bring peace to all. And that's from the Celtic. Baha'i prayer. Be a lamp unto those who walk in darkness, and a home to the stranger. Be eyes to the blind, and a guiding light unto the feet of the hearing. Be a breath of life to the body of humankind, a dew to the soil of the human heart, and a fruit upon the tree of humanity. This is one of the high prayers that I love. Blessed is the spot, and the house, and the place, and the city. And I'm going to cry. And the heart, and the mountain, and the refuge, and the cave, and the valley, and the land, and the sea, and the island, and the meadow, where mention of God hath been made and glorified. My mom was a Baha'i, so that's in honor of my mother. Here's a Christian prayer for peace. Send thy peace, O Lord, which is perfect and everlasting, that our souls may radiate peace. Send thy peace, O Lord, that we may think, act, and speak harmoniously. Send thy peace, O Lord, that we may be contented and thankful for thy bountiful thoughts and gifts. Islamic prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, praise be to the Lord of the universe, who has created us and made us into tribes and nations, that we may know each other, not that we may despise each other. Yeah, so we may know each other, not that we may despise each other. Zoroastrian prayer for peace is we pray to God to eradicate all the misery in the world, that understanding triumph over ignorance. And here is another Celtic prayer. Deep peace, blue wind of the south to you. Deep peace, pure red of the flame to you. Deep peace, pure white of the moon to you. Deep peace, pure green. And here's one of the goddess. Goddess, mother of love and light, stand with us within the night. Free our souls of grief and pain, that love shall be our truest gain. Together let our love now blend, for unto all a peace we shall send. Goddess, mother of love and light, will you hold our hearts in love this night? And as we see, peace is a very important aspect of all the religions. And they are saying the same thing, but their followers are hearing it differently. How differently do you hear when somebody talks about peace? If somebody says, we need peace on the earth, do you immediately think of that's what they need in Afghanistan? Not that's what we need in the streets of San Jose? When they talk about peace is within you, do you think of just the times that you feel good? Or do you honor the fact that you are a peaceful person? Every once in a while, having some problems. But you don't have to maintain being in those problems forever. You are in charge. And I find that when I'm talking to people, they don't realize they've given up that ability to be in charge of being a peaceful person. I was talking to last week when I said, we cannot sing. And somebody said, no, I said, no, we cannot sing. And so I was talking to one of our congregants, and she said, yeah, Dottie went on a rant last week. No, I was being forceful because I didn't want people to start spewing spittle across the room just because they felt they had to sing because they were in church. Things change, and when you think of that, just because you know something's true doesn't mean that it's not going to have a peaceful resolve to get to another place. You are all God's children, and what we're here for is peace. So every time you think that person, stop. Who am I? Who am I to judge? Who am I to say how they should be? Who am I? I'm a child of God. I'm not here to tell other people how to live their life. Unless you happen to be a minister standing in the Center for your creativity. That's something important. But as a child of God, you're not here to tell other people how to do it. Okay. Anybody have any questions or anything they'd like to add? Okay, and while you're thinking, stand up and tell us, and Annie's going to be passing some things around. This is a long service today because we are not due over to the bowling alley until later, so we're kind of stretching it a bit.
Dottie,
Yes.
may I share the Druid vow of friendship?
Yes, certainly.
The Druid vow of friendship is something that is offered when Druids gather. I honor your path. I drink from your well. I bring an unprotected heart to our meeting place. I hold no cherished outcomes. I will not negotiate by withholding, and I am not subject to disappointment.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Eileen. That was fantastic. Fantastic. I just threw my cane on the floor over that.
Great explanation.
That is so great.
The boards are getting your collection stuff ready. This is not collection yet.
Yeah, we're passing, and I want you to take one of these, and if you feel moved to stand up and read it, please do. And, yeah.
And also, when you stand up to speak, please project. We want to make sure the microphone catches you fully.
Okay.
So earlier this AM, I had the privilege of doing a clearing and cleansing ceremony for the VTA yard where the shooting happened. And a young Sikh man came up to me and said, "Thank you so much for doing this. I see the universal power of gathering together in peace." Gathering together in peace. And it just gave me chills. He was a young, very beautiful young man, and just made my heart swell to know that, you know, he said, "I will practice my prayers every day before I come into work."
Oh, fantastic. Thank you, Jan, for sharing that. Okay. Yes, Mary.
I'll read this. An eye for an eye only ends up making the whole world blind. Mahatma Gandhi.
Thank you. Yeah. Anybody else have one? Yes. Kathleen.
This one says, "Give peace a chance. Peace is cheaper. The planet is for peace."
Yeah. Okay. Yes, B.
The life of inner peace, being harmonious and without stress, is the easiest type of existence. Norman Vincent Peale.
Wow, good. Anybody else have one they would like to share? And if you don't like the one you have, we've got more. Yes, Zeke.
I thought this was pretty profound. Peace is not absence of conflict. It is the ability to handle conflict by peaceful means.
Whoa, one more time. That's it.
Peace is not absence of conflict. It is the ability to handle conflict by peaceful means.
Very
That's
good.
from Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan. Wow. Okay, Corky?
I took a deep breath and listened to the old bray of my heart. I am. Sylvia Plath.
Whoa.
Wow.
Oh. Annie?
Well, I grabbed one of my favorites and didn't even know it. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will be as one.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes, Patty.
Peace is the final frontier.
Wow. Yes, Sean.
You will find peace not by trying to escape your problems, but by confronting them courageously. You will find peace not in denial, but in victory. Donald Walters.
Wow. Anybody else have one that you would like to read? Yes, Andrew.
Peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding. From Albert Einstein.
Wow. Yeah. Yes, Dr. Lee.
It isn't enough to talk about peace. One must believe in it. And it isn't enough to believe in it. One must work at it. Eleanor Roosevelt.
Yes, Eleanor.
Yeah. Yes, Mel.
Never be in a hurry. Do everything quietly and in calm spirit. Do not lose your inner peace for anything whatsoever, even if your whole world seems upset. St. Francis de Sales.
Wow, how wonderful.
I like to never be in a hurry.
Never been there. Yeah, that was good. Anybody else have to share one? Yes, Sherry.
You cannot shake hands with a clenched fist.
What a what?
Clenched fist.
Oh, that's a good one. And who wrote that?
Indira Gandhi.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
What did you?
Something spit.
Oh.
Okay. And would you like to do the prayer now or pass the basket?
Whatever you think is the right order.
Well, why don't we pass the basket? And yes, Sherry.
I would like to say something.
Yeah.
Yes. Being in the wheelchair for almost 3 years really taught me a lot about human nature. And I was always amazed at how generous and gracious people were to me. People offered to open the doors for me all the time. In fact, some of them would actually say, "What floor are you getting off of the elevator?" And they would take me to my doctor's appointment. They would actually push me there to make sure that I got to the right door. It also taught me a lot of appreciation about just regular things like walking. I had walking envy for a while. And it amazes me now that I can stand up and that I can walk.
Thank you so much, Sherry. We put out a lot of prayers for you.
I know, and I am so grateful. I'm so grateful.
Okay, we're gonna collect the basket. And if anybody else wants to share something, I'd love to sit down for a while. See what happens, I keep knocking my finger. Thank you. Thank you, Jen. Today is going to be an exciting day. We are going to meet, for those of you who are going with us to have a birthday bash at the bowling alley. Let me know, because we have, I think, signed up everybody who said they were interested. And if you're having a problem financially, let me know. We want to make sure that people who want to go can go. We can get there as early as 12:30 and watch us set up stuff and that type of thing. We'd love to. This is a time for us all to gather together. The bowling alley dining room is incredible. They put a new floor. They cleaned up everything. It's amazing what they've done. So you're not going into a crowded, gutter-filled hall. They have arcade games, and they have a pool table, so they have things to do there, and mainly it's going to be all us talking to each other. We have people that are going to be handing out your badges, and people are going to be taking money to help, and You wear your mask as much as you feel is important to you, but you don't have to while you eat, okay? Anything else you want to know about later today, please ask me. I've been talking about this for quite a while now, because I'm pretty excited for turning 83.
Yay!
The thing about 83 is it makes 11, and I was born on 8/30/38.
Wow.
So 11s have been pretty big for me. So I thought, well, I wasn't going to have a birthday because we have this room rented out at 1 o'clock today. And then I thought, no, that is so important to have this 11 honored. So that's what's happening. Okay. And now, Annie, if you'd like to give a closing prayer.
Sure. And I'm going to sit down, and you're going to have to hold me off this chair.
Okay.
And don't forget, that's Dottie's wonderful candle right in the middle. So anyone that's going over, be sure to bring the
Give her this
candle.
blessing.
Yeah.
And Jen Lee would like to say happy birthday, Dottie.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Oh, you need to leave one on for the. Wasn't that a wonderful service?
Yes.
Let's take a moment and close our eyes and take a nice deep breath in. And let's breathe out. I like to say now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me. Dearest Creator, it actually begins with you. And you have brought each of us together today in this blessed day and every moment that we get to spend together. Even when we're together through technology, we're together just in our thoughts and in our hearts. With peace, with love, with joy, giving us every moment to celebrate that we are alive, that we have love in our lives, that we always have what it is that we need. And for those that may have less, you give us the kindness and the generosity of heart that as we feel it, it spreads to others. And as Jerry shared, giving that joy, that caring. You see somebody and you open a door for them. You see someone who's hungry and offer them food. We do all of this, Creator, because you have taught us. You have held us together as one. You have blessed us on a beautiful day. And today we celebrate. We celebrate together, not just Dottie and her wonderful birthday, but just the joy of living, the joy of happiness, the joy of peace, the joy of sharing. And so it is.
Okay, another thing is if you haven't paid by PayPal, over at the bowling alley, we're going to be taking cash or checks. We don't take credit cards. And if you want to pay, use your phone and go on PayPal, and you can pay that way. We want to make sure that you don't say, oh, I don't have any way of paying you. If you can't pay today, just let me know, and I'll chase you down later.
Checks made to CCL.
And everything says CCL on it. It doesn't. I've already paid for all of you, so it's not going to the bowling alley. It's coming to reimburse our pockets here. So, what reason? Everyone said, why the bowling alley? The bowling alley is about a month away from closing. They're open, but people don't know it. And I talked to Jan. She not only owns the bowling alley, she owns the land it's on. And that's been around since the 1940s, that bowling alley. The food's good, and that's why I chose them. This is an institution I think we need, especially for the older Asian population. You go in there and they have so many leagues when you could go out, but now that group has been staying home and they've had to cancel a lot of the leagues. So when you go there and when you're buying food, realize that you're supporting a local San Jose business that's been around for a long time and deserves to be supported. So that's why we chose them, okay? Thank you all so very much. Let's go.
Yeah.